Hey there, fellow musician friends around the world. Steve here. Today I'm reviewing the Behringer VQ1500d sub that I have on the floor right next to me. If you're new to doing live sound, I'm going to let you know what a sub could do for you. I'm going to show you how to hook it up properly, and I'm going to let you hear it. Let's get to it right now. Alright, so let me tell you a little bit about the sub. It comes in at about 73 pounds. It has a 15-inch subwoofer in it. Has a metal grill. It's ported below. It's 500 watts. The frequency range is 40 hertz to 200 hertz. That's where your kick drum and bass guitar is going to be. That's where you're going to get all that low end from. This is an active speaker, which means it has a built-in amplifier. If you're not familiar with passive versus active, if you purchase an active sub, it's going to have a built-in amplifier, so it's ready to go. If you buy one that's passive, you're going to have an external amplifier to power it. Okay, the handles are nice and sturdy. They're held in place with 9 screws. And as you can see, you could pole mount your top speaker into the sub, as it has a spot to do that right there. Here's the back of the sub. Here are your XLR inputs A and B. You'll be coming out of a passive mixing board going into here. Remember, this is an active sub, so you need to use a passive mixing board. Here is your through A and B. These through XLR jacks send out full range copies of the input signal. So if you use these, you're going to get pretty much a carbon copy of what's going in. It's full range. Here's your output A and your output B. You want to use these outputs to connect your top speakers. Okay? These jacks send out filtered copies of the input signal. Each signal is processed through a 100 hertz high pass filter. Okay? So again, what these do is they take the signal from here and they process the signal through a 100 hertz high pass filter. All right? These are the ones you want to use to hook up your top speakers. Okay, now if you want to boost frequencies 40 hertz to 90 hertz, let's say you want to boost your kick drum a little bit, you set the frequency to your liking, and then you throw on the boost switch right there. Okay, here's your high cut. Now your high cut controls the upper corner frequency for the sub's amplifier. All right, now it goes from 70 hertz all the way up to 150 hertz. I set it there to get some of that bass guitar in there. This has no effect on the output A and B or the through A and B. It has no effect on these. And basically these blue knobs here are to adjust the sound to your liking. Okay? It's going to shape the sound, these two blue knobs. Here's your master volume for the sub. Here is a phase switch if you have any phase issues. Here's your limit light, your signal light, your power light. Down here you have your power switch. This is your power cable. And now let's hook some stuff up. So this is everything I'm going to be hooking up. We have the Behringer sub at the bottom. We have a Mackie thumb on top. And we have a passive Mackie board that we're going to be using. All right, now we're going to hook everything up. Remember, this is a passive mixing board. I'm going to connect the XLR jack to the output. Then we're going to come over to the sub. And we are going to go into input A. Just like that. All right, now we're going to hook up the sub to the top. We do that by going out of the output A. Okay. And then we're going into the input of the Mackie. Just like that. Okay, I just showed you how to hook up the mixing board to one sub and one top. Here's a diagram showing you how to hook up the mixing board to one sub and to two tops. So you'd come out of the mixing board left and right, going A and B, and then you'd come out one speaker, come out, go to the other speaker. So once again, mixing board into the one sub, A and B, and then you come out the outputs to each speaker. Now down here, we have a diagram to hook up two subs and two top speakers. Mixing board out here, out into here, out of the one sub into the top speaker, out of the second sub into the top speaker. Okay, now we're ready to fire everything up. There's a correct sequence for doing this. Make sure all your volumes are down. Mixing board gets turned on first. Okay. The sub gets turned on second. And top gets turned on last. Alright, I'm going to let you hear it now. I'm going to put some drums and some bass guitar through the system. What you're going to hear first is just the Mackie thump by itself. Then I'm going to turn the Behringer sub on, you'll hear them together. Then I'm going to put an 80 Hertz boost on the sub. And then lastly, you'll hear the sub by itself. I'm going to edit it so it's seamless and you can really get an idea of the difference in sound. Alright, when you're shutting down, you reverse the sequence. Shut the top off first. Shut the bottom off second. And lastly, shut the mixer down. Okay, so now let me tell you what I think of the Behringer sub. For the money, I think it's worth it. They go for about 350 or 400 bucks. They're only rated at 500 watts. I use it for a trio that I have playing small clubs and small outdoor patio type of gigs. I've used it for a year, haven't had any problems with it. So for DJs, small trios, yeah, it'll do the trick. If you're playing bigger indoor venues or outdoor venues, you want to get like a Mackie or EV 1000 watt sub. You know, this wouldn't really cut it for anything like that. But I got it through Amazon. I couldn't find it in any brick and mortar stores around here. So I got it through Amazon through a company called Adorama. They're based out of Manhattan, small electronics place. I've been there before when I lived up north. It's a good company to deal with, no problems with them. But if you order it online, you might have to get stuck with shipping costs, and if you ever have to return it, that's a hassle. So I would always recommend getting something this size and this big from a Guitar Center or Sam Ash if you could. As a matter of fact, when I ordered this, UPS actually delivered it to the Guitar Center instead of my house. I had to go track it down, so that was a hassle. So, but to wrap it up, yes, it's worth it, for the price if you're a small trio, something along the lines of that, or a DJ. So hope the review was good for you. I'll catch you next time. Peace.